everybody, Swirl the cat here, and today I wanted to give you guys a deck profile of one of the decks that I have been really enjoying in this current format, and that is Rosemon from the new support that we just got in BT13. And I think I finally made a build that I'm happy with and that I think works very well, so I just wanted to share this deck profile with anybody who is trying to build this deck so that it might help some people out. So let's get started. I'll just start by showing you guys the eggs, and then we'll go like down in order or whatever. So I'm just running 4 Gummymon. This is, it's like an older card now, but when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, you draw a card. I've seen some people running the new Cocomon, which is really similar to Gummymon, but just instead of when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, it's like one of your Digimon becomes suspended, draw. But I feel like Gummymon works a little bit more often in at least this build that I made, so that's why I'm running Gummymon. Obviously, I always think eggs are up to the preference of the person who's playing the deck, so if you didn't like Gummymon, you could totally run like Argomon or Cocomon or any other green egg that suits your preference. Next up, we got basically the main thing of the deck is Rosemon Burst Mode. So like all the other burst modes, you can go into Rosemon Burst Mode by bouncing Yushino from your field to the hand. So you can go into her for free. She has an ability kind of similar to Quartzmon that stuns your opponent's board. So when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and one of their tamers until the end of your opponent's turn. All of their Digimon and tamers don't unsuspend. And she has a win attacking ability to trash a top card of your opponent's security stack for every 2 of your opponent's suspended Digimon and or tamers. So I'm running 3 of this card, and that's because I'm running 1 Quartzmon. You could totally run like 4 Rosemon Burst Mode if you wanted, but I like to flip-flop between the numbers between those. But yeah, this is like the winning card of the deck. You're going to want this card in your hand to stun your opponent's board, ideally like back to back, so you can just swing with Rosemon Burst Mode and mill their stack and then hit their security. And this Rosemon is most likely going to have like +1 security from your inheritables that I'll show you guys later. So this thing, in some games that I would be milling like 2 of my opponent's security cards and then, hit +1 security. So I would be getting rid of like 4 of their security cards in 1 turn, depending on how many suspended things they had on their board, which if you go from Rosemon into Rosemon Burst Mode, you can make like so many suspended things on your opponent's board. Of course, they have to have things on their board for you to suspend, but, most likely the decks in this format, they're going to have a ton of things on their board for you to suspend, which is, you're going to, punish them with Burst Mode to get rid of a lot of their security. So it's kind of very punishing in that way for them if they go wide and you just use Burst Mode and Rosemon and suspend all their stuff and stun them. But yeah, either 3 or 4 of these, it's up to the player, but I'm running 3 because I'm running 1 Quartz, and I'm not going to go over Quartz because I feel like most people know what Quartz does by now. This card is just insane. It's like a one of in at least like every green deck, I want to say, at least currently. Even in some other decks, it's a one of. But yeah, Quartzmon just to, suspend your opponent's things in case you don't get Rosemon, because, they're similar but different. Quartzmon you can totally shut down like a specific deck. Some decks have like no out to Quartzmon, either they can't reach the numbers or they have no removal or whatever. So, sometimes you just gotta play Quartzmon and just keep continuously swinging with Quartzmon for the win, and, you could get the win that way. But that is all the level 7s I'm running, so we'll just go over the level 6s. Here is the new Rosemon from BT 13. So I'm running 4 of her. She has a Wind Digivolving skill. You can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers to unsuspend this Digimon. And then she has an all turns and once per turn skill. When an opponent's Digimon or Tamer becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. So these 2 effects kind of go in with each other a little bit. So most likely, when you're digivolving into Rosemon, your Rosemon stack is going to be suspended. So when you go into Rosemon for 3 or, less, because this deck doesn't need very much to go into Digivolution, you will go into Arrested, activate her Wind Digivolving skill to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. She will then become unsuspended by her ability, and then her all turn skill will activate to rest one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers again, because of her Wind Digivolving skill went off that already rested something on their board. So when Digivolving, you go into her, probably rested, rest one of their things, she gets unsuspended, her all-turn skill will activate, suspending another one of their Digimon or Tamers, depending on what they have. So ideally, you're going to suspend like 2 things with this Rosemon, and then she's going to unsuspend herself for you to swing with her, ideally into like into burst mode. But yeah, we're running 4 of her. My one thing is, I do forget that this is an all-turn skill, so like it's very, very good. It's just I forget that it exists, because if you're going against something like Shine and they swing with like their Marcus first or whatever, when their Marcus becomes rested, you can suspend their Shine stack or like another Marcus they have on board, and then like you'll just get rid of an attack in that way because it'll become suspended. So I guess what I have to say to people who are playing this card, just remember that this second thing is an all turns ability, not just on your turn. So running 4 of those, and I am running like another level 6. I don't really see people run, but I feel like they should run at least one Reflishimon. I don't know if I said that right, but one of her. And she's searchable because a lot of the cards in this deck search fairies, and I just think she works into like the stunning of the deck. Digiburst 2, you can give this card plus, actually all of your Digimon get +2, but I really use it for the second ability. When one of your card activate Digiburst, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. So I just like to stun something with her. And also something that I was thinking is that this can go over a level 6. So like, say in a worst case scenario, you didn't get like burst in your hand, you really didn't have that many like plays, you could just pay 1 to go into Reflishimon, use her Digiburst, get +2, and at least stun one of your opponent's thing to kind of like stall a little bit until you get into your burst mode or Quartzmon or whatever your game-winning card, whatever you want it to be. But I just wanted to run more level 6s, so I'm just running 1 of her. That's it for the level 6s. So here's the level 5s, running 4 Lilimon. So she gives +1 security in the inheritable as long as your opponent has a suspended Digimon, and she just has a Wind Digimon skill that plays out the Tamer that I'll show you, which is really good. You want to have at least one of the Tamer on your board because it's gonna like really, really help you. So you're gonna want to run 4 of that. We're running 2 Cherrymon, really just for his opponent's turn ability for the redirect. So a lot of the times my opponent would like almost have game on me, but then I would get out Cherrymon, or even in some cases like I would hard play Cherrymon just to get his opponent's turn ability, which you switch the target of the attack to one of your suspended Digimon. So say they're trying to like swing at you and you have like a rested burst mode or something else on board, you just activate Cherrymon's skill to redirect your opponent's attack into burst mode, and then like most likely they'll die because your burst mode is has a lot of DP. So we're running 2 Cherrymon. And also because he has Digisorption 2, so he's just going to cost 1 to go into as well. So he's a cheap Digillusion there. Another reason why we're running 1 of each of our now restricted cards, because they're just so cheap to go into, but very, very good. So 1 Blossomon just for the free Digivolution into a level 5 for 0. And same thing with Argomon, he's at 1, but we're only running 1 for the free Digivolution. And then the Wind attacking skill is also very good as well. If you get it off, you can play a green level 3 from your hand suspended without paying its memory cost. So just very good there. That is it for the level 5s. Let me show you guys the level 4s that we're using. We're running 4 copies of the new Sunflowmon. So this has a main effect on your, turn. You can suspend this Digimon, and one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Fairy in one of its traits in your hand for the Digivolution cost. And when you do it by this effect, you can reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So this is like very, very good for going into our level 5 here. Let me show you guys. So you would just like activate Sunflowmon on your turn if you have it up there in your battle area. So you'll suspend itself, and then you'll go into your Lilimon for 1 because she's a fairy, and then like activate Lilimon's effect to bring out the Tamer for free, and then continue into Rosemon in that way. So we're using Sunflowmon to just get that cheap Digivolution off into Lilimon. And also, it has an inherited ability when this Digimon would Digivolve. If you have a green Tamer, reduce that cost by 1. So, there's also another card in here that has this same ability, Rookie, that I will show you also. So it's just to make cheap Digivolution costs. Next up, we're running the other Sunflowmon from a while back in BT10. So this has the Wind Digivolving skill. You can suspend one of your green Digimon to play a Digimon card with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of its traits and 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its play cost. So, if you have this up in your battle area, you pay 2, probably like passing turn your opponent or whatever, but you would just suspend itself. You could play out all of your targets are basically all of your level 4 or lowers. So like we have Red Vegemon and hard to fit them on the screen here, but all of your level 3s, so Palmon and all that stuff that I'll get into. But that is all of your targets for this Sunflowmon to just fill your board. And usually get out Palmon, or is it Lilimon or Lalamon? Palmon or Lalamon to get out searches to search out like your Rosemon and stuff like that. So this is a really good card to just go into early game to fill up your board and just search for your pieces. And it also has a inherited skill during your turn. Once per turn, when an effect suspends one of your Digimon, you can draw a card. So drawing is always good. Next up, kind of already showed you guys, but 3 copies of Red Veggie. There's not much to say about him, but we're just running him because he's cheap. He has 3000 DP, he costs 3, but he's a level 4, and he costs 1 to go into, so you could be like really cheeky if you go like first, and you go into your level 3, and then you go into Red Veggie in your breeding area, and then you leave your opponent with 1 at like, turn 1, so they don't have much to work with. But yeah, 3 Red Veggie. That was it for the level 4s, so here are the level 3s. Here's Lilimon I was talking about earlier. She's basically just on play, reveal top 3 to search for Veggie, Plant, or Fairy, and your Tamer that I'm going to show you guys later, so you can add both of those to your hand and put the rest on the bottom. And this has the same inherited ability as the Sunflowmon I showed you earlier. When this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have a green Tamer, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So, we have another searcher. Palmon, you guys have probably seen this used in like Hydra and Bloom Lord a lot, but this card is very, very good in this deck as well. Because it's on play, reveal top 4, add 1 card with Veggie or Plant in one of its traits, and 1 card with Fairy in its traits in your hand, put the rest on the bottom. So this is going to grab any of our Rosemon, or actually any of our level 6s, and any of our Rosemon burst modes to our hand, and whatever else, Veggie or Plant. So 4 Palmon is definitely a must to add all of our pieces. And I'm running this other Palmon. I just wanted to run like more rookies, so I'm running this one. Just start of turn, draw 1. You're always going to need to draw more cards in this deck, because the faster you get your pieces, the faster you're going to win, is basically just this deck. And you want to make sure you have everything in your hand to go into burst mode and stuff like that, because it is a little bit of setup to get there. So 2 Palmon, and like I like to get this Palmon out by using this Sunflower mod, so you can suspend it, call out a Palmon, and then when it goes back to your turn, you'll have an extra card to draw off of this Palmon if your opponent doesn't kill it. But you know, I'm running 2 Pamu and I'm running 1 Terriermon. So this is just like I run these at my locals. Obviously, you could change the numbers on these depending on what you would prefer. But I feel like this number is just working out for me. Pamu is like a must because, you know, not only is it searchable because it's vegetation, but it can shut down a lot of decks, like I guess the Royal Knights deck currently, or Jesmon, or just anything that plays Digimon by effects, and Terriermon is just good to stop your opponent from gaining any memory. That's not by Tamer. So that was it for the level 3s. Let me show you guys what Tamers are running. I'm sure it's not like that hard to assume that we're running 4 copies of Yushino, because she is like very, very good. You're gonna want her on your board as soon as possible, at least like turn 2 or 3. You want to have her on your board, either by playing her out from your hand or by getting her out from Lillamon. But anyways, she's a memory setter, so she's gonna set you to 3 at the beginning of your turn. And then when one of your Digimon digivolves into something with vegetation, plant, or fairy in one of its traits, you can suspend her to gain a memory. And like, that's it. But also, like, you're very rarely gonna pass turn as long as she's on your board, you know, when you go into your level 6. Also, you're gonna want her on your board for sure when you go into burst mode, because you can just bounce her from the field to your hand to go into Rosemon burst mode for free, and then, you know, activate all of burst mode's things. You don't really want to go into Rosemon burst mode by paying 5 unless like you really have to. So definitely 4 of her. You're gonna want to get at least 1 on the board during your game. And these 2 other Tamers I'm kind of running. I've been using them for a while and they work out for me, but I can see how some people might not like them. I'm using one of these older Izzy's, I guess it's like really old now, from the old green structure deck. And this just says when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, you can just suspend this to gain 1. And then I'm running the Izzy and Mimi Tamer. So at the beginning of your turn, if your opponent has a suspended Digimon, you can just gain 2 from this. And then it has another like really weird your turn ability that like you're probably never going to use, but I don't know, it's kind of cool that it's there. So when you attack with a level 5 Digimon, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can digivolve into a level 6 Digimon card among them into, you know, the attacking Digimon without paying its memory cost, and place the remaining at the bottom. I like never use that ability, but I have had it happen in like some other green decks, which is like very funny to me because you'll be attacking with a 5 and there's like no way you have your level 6, but if you know, swing with your 5 and use this ability, reveal top 3, and you like get that 6, it's really cool. But I could see someone running like 2 of this Izzy and like none of this. This is just a card I just like, you know. But my weird one-ups in this deck, and we are running 3 of the green memory boosts. Not much to say about them other than I just use these to get my pieces, you know, real top 4, add a green card, this goes into the battle area, and then you could just use it to gain memory. So, yeah, if you didn't want to use green memory boosts, you could use like something more offensive, like, I think it's called Grandula Soul, the 8 cost or the 8 drop card that spins one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. You could use that, or you know, whatever you prefer, but I really like using just the 3 green memory boosts because I feel like it really helps just gather up the pieces that you need. But that has been it for the deck profile. I apologize if I rambled or whatever. I really like this deck, and I could probably God, I could probably talk about this deck for like an hour. I really love it. Green is my favorite color. It has been since the beginning, and I'm glad that I finally got this deck in like a working level, or I got it working the way I wanted it to, and I just wanted to share with people. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be making some more deck profiles because I've been playing a lot from BT13. So stay tuned for those, and check out my other socials like Twitter. I'm on TikTok now a little bit, and Instagram, and I'm working on like a Etsy right now, trying to make some Digimon stuff. So I'll have that linked below for anybody who's interesting, or for anyone who's interested. And I will see you all next time.